Welcome to episode 5 in the build towards the Canyons 100. We are in Austin Marathon race prep week mode, so check it out. 2 weeks ago, I was in the Puerto Rico heat, training in the heat and humidity. And now for the past 2 weeks, I've been back in New England, freezing, trying to get some miles in the snow and ice. A lot of those miles have been on the treadmill, but it's just part of being consistent, just getting in the miles in, no matter what your circumstances are.
Puerto Rico wasn't a vacation. I went there to work. I went there to train in the heat, humidity, and discomfort, and I did that on purpose. In the heat, your body is forced to adapt. You sweat more efficiently, your heart learns to work smarter, and you start to condition your internal engine. I'm trying to build endurance, not speed. The goal wasn't to chase pace. It was to stress my system in a way that I simply cannot replicate back home in New England, especially with these record low temperatures we've been facing this year. If I can learn to stay controlled there in Puerto Rico, I should feel stronger and steadier coming back home to cooler temperatures. That week was about building a bigger engine, one that can endure, not only for the Canyons 100 taking place in April, but also the Austin Marathon this coming weekend. I did 2 5-mile training runs to compare the data, one at the beginning of Puerto Rico, and then the last one today. So let's see if heat training was effective.
It's definitely not Puerto Rico anymore. It is 30 degrees out, and I'm gonna run for an hour and a half. We'll see how many miles that turns into. I hate the winter so much. I hate the cold. So I get all bundled up. And then anytime I do anything, I get super hot. So now I think the neck gaiter was a bit much. 5 miles. Almost done. Trying not to slip and roll an ankle. Tuesday run in the books. 6.5 miles. So I'll take it. It's a little less than an hour and a half, but I forgot my headlight. But I am happy I remembered my vest with the light indicator on it that I bought from Amazon. So I'll probably leave a link for that in the description below. Peace.
So that was one of the 2 outdoor runs that I did in these past 2 weeks. The majority of the other time, my training has been looking like this: lacing up my shoes and getting on the Nordic track and looking at the same wall for every run. I also have been sure to be consistent with indoor hikes as well, making sure I still get some elevation in. The Nordic track's amazing because it goes up to a 40% incline if you desire that. This is a 20% grade because there's one section in the Canyons 100 where I believe the grade is 18% incline for about 1 mile. And that takes place around mile 60. So I'll do that on occasion with fatigued legs.
I am 3 days away from making my way down to Austin, Texas for the Austin Marathon this weekend. So I am so excited for that. Not only to get away from this cold, ice, and snow, but to finally experience the Austin Marathon and the vibe that comes with it. It's supposed to be one of the biggest marathon races, events in the States, so I am looking forward to the hype. But that being said, I am terrified of the marathon distance. A road marathon is so different from running ultras. They're typically a faster pace, more calculated. The last time I ran a marathon, my one and only road marathon, was the Revel White Mountains Marathon in New Hampshire, and that kicked my butt. My goal at that time was to run a sub-4 marathon, but I was not adequately trained or equipped to do so. I ended up cramping at mile 20. As they say, I hit the wall. Was sitting on the side of the road for about 8 minutes as my calf was in excruciating pain due to a cramp that I've never had before in my entire life. So I ended up limping, hobbling, walking the last 6 miles to finish. And I finished in 4 hours and 30 minutes. So, thinking about running the Austin Marathon this weekend, I originally signed up for it because it is supposed to be just a long training run in preparation for my A race, which is the Canyons 100. But I keep toying with the idea of looking for redemption and trying to PR the marathon distance. I would love to run a sub-4 marathon at some point this year, but I don't know if it would be the wisest decision to do that in Austin this weekend and potentially ruin the rest of my training for the Canyons 100 in April. So I wanted to do a little time trial here today on the track before a race day, which, as you can see, even that is limited due to the wintry conditions. So rather than let my ego get the best of me down there in Austin, I was thinking I would leave it up to my Garmin to dictate the pace. And I was thinking if it would be wise to set my heart rate parameters to not go past a certain heart rate. So I think I'm gonna set my heart rate alert to the higher end of zone 3 for me, which is about 165 to 168 or something like that, and put my ego aside and try and just stay under that heart rate throughout the entirety of the race, and then see what pace that equates to at the end. And then always considering the data, looking back a year and a half and see how it compares to my first road marathon in 2024. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm doing. I love running, but I'm new to the whole data analysis and training protocols. I kind of just wing it and hope for the best. So I'm trying to get better at being more structured and having a better understanding on how to be a better runner and ultimately run farther and faster. But my A goal this year is the Canyons 100, with the goal of just finishing that and getting a buckle. So anything up to that, I do want to take the smart road and try to not mess it up before then. So I'm gonna do a little 5-mile test run today and see if that can help me predict my time for the marathon on Sunday. Five miles done. Austin Marathon 5-mile time trial, maybe? I don't know. So let's see what we got going on. All right, so 5 miles, 46 minutes, 42 seconds. That's an average pace of 9:20. My average heart rate was 160. So I'm wondering if I can maintain that for 26.2 miles. Because if so, then that would for sure be a PR. I don't think sub 4, but definitely sub 4:30, which is my previous PR for a marathon distance on the road. That being said, I am on a perfectly flat track here, which is only 50% cleared away, so I kind of just ran a whole bunch of half moons around the track. But it was a nice, easy pace. It felt good. I felt like I can maintain that for a long time. The Austin Marathon is allegedly supposed to be very hilly, so that's definitely going to play a role into the heart rate and pace. But regardless, I'm excited. I am just so excited to experience that race vibe in Austin. It's supposed to be one of the funnest races in the States, so I'm so looking forward to it. This has been the marathon that made me want to run marathons. To have the opportunity to get down there and finally get a chance to do it, I am so excited. And of course, I'm going to be filming and documenting the whole experience, so I'm sure that might play a role in pacing too. And I'm trying not to be a crazy pace guy, but that's what I dislike about road races, is that's the focus for most of it. Ultras are a whole different vibe. So, but they are fun. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see how it goes.
Same runner, same 5 miles, totally different worlds. In Puerto Rico, it was 80 degrees with 88% humidity. I ran a pace of 10:33 with an average heart rate of 167, and it took me almost 53 minutes. Basically, I was running in a sauna down there. Today in New England, it was 30 degrees and dry. I ran at a 9:20 pace, finished in 46 minutes, 42 seconds, and my average heart rate dropped to 160. I didn't magically get fitter overnight. The weather did half the work. But here's the key. That sweaty Puerto Rico run was building the engine. Today's cold, just let it cruise. Heat for strength, cold for speed, endurance improved.